So many of us have heard of Amityville, but have you heard of Heol Fanog? This is it. It's located in Wales. Warning, this video has a lot of scary things in it, so if that's not for you, move along, but if you love it, buckle up. This is Liz Rich and her husband Bill, and right before they were expecting this little one, they purchased Heol Fanog and moved in 1989. It's located near the Brecon Beacons, nestled down in the middle of this somewhere, and Liz described it as being isolated and almost feeling like you were in a bubble. Bill had an older son that moved in with them. Liz was expecting their first child, and they were excited to start their new family. But immediately, the shit hits the fan. Liz was expecting, she was getting close to her due date. She was relaxing in the recliner while her husband was out working on some of the art that he was painting, and she heard a knock at the door. She called out for her husband, but she knew that he was busy, so she got up, she made her way to the door, and she called out, like, who's there? No one answered. They just knocked again. So she opened the door, and there stands a man that had some kind of head injury, and he just stares at her. Liz was startled. She clutched her chest. She said, "Who are you?" He didn't answer. He just turned around and walked into the woods. Liz is like, what the hell is happening? Who is that man? So her husband comes in about that time. She tells him what's happened. He said it was probably just like somebody out wandering around. But remember, they lived out in the middle of nowhere, so she was immediately suspicious. The next night, they're watching the news. They see that there was a car accident near her house, and they showed a photo of the man that they said passed away at the scene, and it was the man that knocked at her door. So she's like, I'm sorry, what? Then they get their first electric bill, and they are like, what is going on? There's no way we could use this much power. Their bill was like 705 pounds, which is the equivalent today, I think someone said, of like 2,000 and something. But the important thing to know is that this was later researched, and they found out that for the amount of power to have been used to get their bill that high, they would have had to continuously run their washer 24/7 for over 1,000 days. And the billing period was only like for 3 months, right? So the math wasn't mathing. Then the typical haunting stuff starts. Like, they start hearing footsteps, thinking they see shadows out of the corner of their eyes, and they're starting to get a little weirded out. But let me tell you what happened to him with his painting. Things weren't going too good for him. He was needing more work, so his neighbor felt sorry for him and was like, hey, here, paint my horse. I'm going to commission you to do that. I'm going to pay you in advance. And Bill was like, yes. He starts working constantly on this horse, and he's just kind of having like a panic attack because he cannot get the back leg right. It was the back right leg. He felt like it looked like a kid did it. She's like, you're overreacting. It looks fine. So he gives it back to the neighbor, and the neighbor's like, oh, this is great. I love it. And he's like, I don't know. I feel kind of weird about the leg. And the neighbor's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, well, and I picked this part of the pasture to draw it in, so I hope you're okay with that. And he's like, yeah, I love it. It looks great. But then 2 weeks go by. The neighbor calls him, and he was like, what did you do? Because my horse, my beloved horse, just dropped in the same spot where you painted him because he had an infection in the leg that you said you were having a hard time painting. So, yeah. One day she's out taking care of the farm animals when a pig freaks the hell out and goes crazy on her. He attacks her. She gets out. She goes and gets Bill. Bill comes to the barn. They can't get the pig to calm the hell down. It's so crazy that they have to call the neighbor to come over and help. And then they end up having to like put the pig down. They said the pig was like diseased. He had something wrong with him. Then guess what? All the other animals, all of them start dying off. Every animal they had that lived on this farm. So even if the pig had some kind of like disease, they normally don't hop to different animals like that. It would just affect the pigs, but no, all of them gone. She's immediately weirded out. She calls her mom. Her mom's like, oh, maybe it's nothing. Then the kids, right? She ends up having another kid. So she has 2 kids, Ben and Becca. They start seeing like this old lady in their playroom. She's just hanging out in the corner. The kids don't think anything of it because if there's a woman in the house, clearly your parents wanted them there, right? That's what they thought about it. One day she sees the old woman looking out the window like, what are y'all doing out there? So she makes eye contact with the woman. The woman's looking at her. She's looking at the woman. And then the woman just fades away. Oh no. Oh hell no. The whole time he's out in the barn painting all kinds of weird shit, losing his mind. She sees a black figure in the hallway that is about 7 feet tall, has no face, was human shaped, but she could tell that it was evil, that something was wrong with it. This is Liz now, and that's when she said that it was time for her to get the hell out. So she packed up the kids, they left. She'd already called a priest, they brought the priest over, they'd done, like she said, what had to have been hundreds of exorcisms, and nothing worked. So she was like, cool, I'm out of here. But he would not leave the house. Bill slips into a depression. He's drinking constantly. He's painting all kinds of scary stuff. And she's like, you know what? You're not for me anymore. I got to get the hell out of here. So she takes her 2 kids and leaves. Bill ends up passing away. This all takes place over the span of 7 years. And this isn't even the half of it. This video is like 6 minutes long. So if you want to hear more of this story, like, comment, share, let me know, and I will tell you more of it. But if you've watched all the way to the end, what do you think about it? Have you ever been there? I kind of want to go, but then I don't. At least she was smart enough to get the hell out of there, right?